Let's
All
do this
right.
game.
You are listening to Dumpster Diving with
Janice
and Jane. And today we have a special topic, which is Pride Month. Woo woo!
Love it.
Yes, June 2023. As we all know, June is Pride Month for the LGBTQ plus community. And I don't know how much we've talked about this or not, but and I'm sure, I mean, some people have put two and two together, but I am part of the LGBTQ community. I am a lesbian. I like women.
Hi, Jane. I feel like you should have introduced yourself.
Yes, this is Jane. Well, I think they know our voices at this
point.
No,
I'm thinking more of my name is Jane and I'm a lesbian. And
so like a meeting of the
exactly
of the community.
Hello, exactly.
My name is Jane and I'm a lesbian.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Janice, Miss Hetero.
Wow, I feel attacked is actually what I feel right now. Attacked.
No. So no, we wanted to do an episode today or this month about Pride. Just a little bit, crack open crack the nut of Jane's LGBTQ lifestyle and experience and all that fun stuff, but also to talk about how we support the community and how we can bring awareness and how June's not the only month that we are digging deep and being an ally. It's all the time, but we bring awareness during June because it's the celebratory aspect and how people in the community do it and how we're different and how we're the same and all that fun stuff. So
I love it. Well, and like you said, Jane, most people have probably put two and two together. Because you have referred to your wife, you've referred to being separated, that kind of thing. But that said, you also, I think every single one of us have a unique story. You have your own unique story because you are someone who has 4 children from men.
Yes.
And now you're, and now obviously you've also been in relationships with women. So, I love how you kind of introduced this episode. And I think that because we have told so much of our stories, yes, this is a great space for you to share the story that you, in any way that obviously you feel like you would like to, with the idea that, and I love what you said, awareness, right? It's all about like understanding each other's human experience, whatever that looks like. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's, my coming out story, and maybe we should save the coming out story for October when it's National Come Out Day on Devin's birthday. Our birthday is October 11th, you guys, so I give him crap about it every year. But hey, he's my younger brother and I have to tease him about something. But, and I could save that for later, but I didn't come out until my mid-30s, but it was something that I knew was there since, I want to say, I think I definitely knew by the age of 14, definitely knew. There was a girl at school, man, oh man, did I have the hots for her. Woo.
I was going to say, okay, how did you know? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I had the hots for her big time. And she was super cool. I just smile right now because I remember how I felt back then. I was in puppy love with her so much. But she was so cool. She was a senior and I was a freshman. Ooh. And I had a senior schedule as a freshman. Don't know how I worked that out, but I got out of school at noon every day.
Oh, wow.
Work. But I didn't have to be at work until like 2. So I would hop on her motorcycle with her and go hang out with her at her apartment. And
wow.
But I had the biggest, she had a boyfriend, but I had the biggest crush on her. Hugest. So that I knew, but there was some experiences with my mom. And I think that I even, told the experience about how the first time I cut my hair short and how she greeted me when I got home.
No. I don't think.
I haven't told that story.
No.
Yeah. So I was, I think I was about 14. I was, in high school freshman year and, or the summer of it. I know it was the summer before. And I really wanted the Winona Ryder, like pixie haircut. I just loved it. And that was the era, right. And so mid 90s. And so I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. So I went to Supercuts and I my hair was like to the middle of my back,
Oh,
and
wow.
I came home with a pixie haircut. Now, mind you, I already kind of knew that I was gay at this point, and so I walk out of Supercuts and I sit down on the bench, and this chick walks up to me and immediately hits on me. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
okay, like I have the haircut apparently.
Wow. Mission accomplished.
I'm in, I've been accepted.
So for any of our young listeners who are wondering how you announce to the world, evidently it's a haircut.
You get a haircut. So watch out, because that haircut might be the one that identifies you. No, just kidding. So I get this haircut, I sit down, this chick is hitting on me hard, and I was on fire. I was like, okay, like I'm excited for this. I'm here for it, I get on the bus, I go home, and because I took the city bus everywhere. I've always been a very independent person. And I get home and I walk through the front door, and the first and only thing my mother says to me as I walk through the front door was, "You look like a fucking dyke." And she turned around and walked away.
Wow. Way to go, Mom.
My heart fell out of my body and I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed. And at that moment, I knew that I was not going to be accepted by my mother.
Mm.
And I already knew that I wasn't, like she was getting her approval for anything was a freaking act of Congress.
Right.
We very rarely heard good job or yes, or, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You're so amazing. You're smart. You're anything. No, it was always, well, you could have done better. And what's wrong with you? And I don't have time for that. And, all of that stuff. So to be excited and pumped up and have like validation out in the real world, and then to come home and to be completely squashed was like one of the most detrimental times of my teen life. It hurt, it cut really deep. And so at that moment in my brain, I was like, I can't be who I am. So I tried really hard being straight. I think that was like the switch in my head. And then I was angry, I was an angry teenager. And so anytime that, I wasn't at work or at school, I was out finding validation from somebody else, and I was trying really hard to be straight. And I ended up getting pregnant, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter and then my son, because I was looking for that validation. And I know for a fact my mother does not understand how that moment changed the trajectory of my little world.
Have you guys, I'm assuming the answer to this is no, but have you guys ever talked about it?
We've tried to, but she denies that it ever happened.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, she, I mean, we have lots of, even to this day, she's 75 years old. And I mean, she's so mentally ill. It's sad, So that changed everything for me. And I tried for the next, 15 years to be straight. I tried really hard. And it wasn't until I divorced my third husband,
right.
Because I don't blame my mom, but that's the moment. That's the moment that I just didn't care anymore. To be honest, for a long time, I didn't care. I was just trying to be accepted somewhere. And it was hard. It was hard. So, but when I finally came out, man, like that was liberating. And so it hasn't been that long. It's been less than 10 years, that I came out. I mean, it'll be about 8 years since I've come out. So
what do you think, like, what was the catalyst then for you finally to do that?
It was, honestly, it was becoming a coach.
Oh, wow.
I really, like I've said this before, like when I first became a coach, I was like, okay, great. Now I'm a coach. What the hell do I do?
Right. Right.
I don't know how to be a coach. So when I really started digging into being a coach and the skill set and all of that stuff, I had to sit back, after the first week or so and go, man, like how in the world are you going to be able to encourage and champion and do all of these things for other people when you can't even do it for yourself? You don't see yourself that way. And so I had to make the conscious choice to work on myself first. I was my first client.
Yeah.
Because I really had to work on me to even get there. Though I've been doing it for years and just didn't understand it until that moment. I was like, oh shit, like, okay, you've been doing it, but you don't believe it for yourself. So that's where you need to work. Like, you're really good at telling people how great they are and all of that stuff. But when it comes to you, you are unable to receive that message.
Yeah.
Now's your time. So I really did. I worked on myself, and I was in a marriage with a man. And it was a very turbulent, and because we weren't meant to be together. Sure. It was, I think that he warned me over and over again that he was a jerk, and and all that stuff. And I just, well, yeah, it's fine, because I was still,
I can fix you.
I can fix you. Exactly. I couldn't fix myself, but I can fix everybody else. And I really truly believe that that's why my relationships have failed. And even my last relationship, that was the last time that I took on something or someone into my world where I felt like I could be the catalyst that helps them with everything. And I can't.
Yep. No,
I can't.
Not especially in a romantic relationship, right?
Right.
And so many, so many of us make that mistake, right? That I can help this person, and a romantic relationship cannot be based in that.
Yeah, it has to be your equal. It has to be not the same person, but somebody that is going to bring just as much joy and value to the relationship that you do. And if you don't value the relationship, they're not going to bring value to the relationship.
Okay.
And so I valued the relationship because it helped me think of stability and a partner and all of those things. And he didn't bring value to the relationship because he didn't value the relationship.
Right.
I was always a nuisance, or don't talk to me that way in front of my kids, or, and it wouldn't be anything crazy, but he, it was like very much so into religion and how the Bible says that men and women should act. And this didn't come out until after we got married. And then I was like, oh yeah.
Okay, I'm out.
Yeah. Time out. Sucker. So anyways, I started working on myself, and I was married, and he did not like the improvements he was seeing.
Oh, wow.
Changes and those things. And I would try to have constructive conversations with him, and he's like, you can't try to coach me. I'm like, I'm just trying to have a conversation with you. Right. A different conversation instead of the old ones that we've always had. But he was one of those people that wallowed in misery.
Oh,
and
sure.
And all of, like, as soon as he was done worrying about one thing, it was off to the next thing.
Yep.
And within 30 minutes, literally. And I'm like, I can't handle this. So I filed for divorce, and throughout that moment, I really realized I needed to be honest with myself. And I really needed to be like, Jane, like, you're not going to find what you need or want if you keep looking in the same spot. Right. I mean, that's the definition of insanity, right? Right. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I was getting the same results because I was not being honest with myself.
Yeah.
And so when I came out, it was very liberating to me, because I finally could feel like I could be myself, and autonomy was one of my new core values.
Right.
I didn't even know what autonomy meant until I read the definition. I was like, that's it.
Right.
I need that. I like that. What do you mean?
Yeah, but get me some of that. Wait a minute.
I can live my life how I want.
Right.
Wait a second. So it was that, and now I decide that I'm out. Right. I'm in the community. I know nothing about this community as part of it.
Right.
And I'm in my mid-30s. And I'm way behind the 8 ball, and so I don't know all the terms and the lingo and all of this stuff. So it's like, now I'm thrust into this whole new world,
sure.
And even this weekend, I'm talking to somebody, and they're like, oh, well, or I was watching a show, and they're like, oh, well, lesbians don't like to show their collarbone. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? I can't show my collarbone now? Like, is this new? So
is this new? Did they share this?
This wasn't in the memo. Like, what is lesbian are us? Like, what are you talking about? I can't show my collarbone. I like showing my collarbone. So anyways, so now I'm thrust into this whole world where I know nothing about firsthand, with the exception of what I've learned along the way from my friends. And because I've always been an ally, You know, I've never shunned the gay community because I couldn't be a part of it.
Of
I've
course.
always really embraced it. You know, this is a derogatory term, but I'm a proud member of the hag club.
Got it.
I was a fag hag forever, you know, and but I always got along with gay men and gay women, and because I could feel it on the inside, you know, and so I knew I needed to be there, and I'd had my little things throughout the years, but nothing like a relationship, nothing like full blown, like, hey, this is the community I belong to,
Right.
and stuff like that. So I mean, that's kind of where we're at now, being thrust in the last. So I've been out. I want to correct myself. I've been out for 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second though. If you've been out for 6 years, then that means it really wasn't very soon after you were out that you met your current spouse who you guys are now separated.
And that's exactly right. And so I really, and that one was one of those like crash courses into being a lesbian, you know, like it was a whirlwind, and I didn't know what to expect, but I was excited because it was new, and she was sweet and very, you know, attentive, which I never had, and pursued, and like all of those things that I liked. I was like, oh, I like this, you know, but that's, you know, so yeah, so, and I made a commitment to her very quickly, and she was moving in, and it was like, oh, this is normal, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right.
And super sweet. And I was also in a new state, and I was in a new area, and everything was new, so I just kind of rolled with it because I'm like, I'm just going with the flow. Well,
and I can see how there's something safe about that kind of first person, right? Like I can see how you wrap a whole lot into that experience. I
felt safe because I had somebody that had been out since they were 17, and they were with me. So I'm like
a mentor of sorts.
I have an expert here, you know, and that was very comforting to me. But what I didn't pay attention to, because I was caught up in all of that, was the underlying issues that were there and the things that I couldn't fix.
Sure.
And I let go of a lot of control in my world, because I finally had a partner that wanted to be a part of my world.
Right.
And I felt like the Little Mermaid, be a part of my world, you know, like just like it was like refreshing, you know. But so I overlooked a lot of red flags, and I made not excuses, but I just overlooked them, and was like, okay, I can deal with this, and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, we weren't the right people for each other, but I think that we spent time together for a reason. And I think we both grew tremendously through that time, but it just, you know, that was the time we needed, you know, together. And now we're off and running and doing, you know, things that bring us joy. So
I want you to know that while you
just added that, I saw it.
I just added the Little Mermaid part of your world to our playlist. You're welcome, world. So so I have a couple of questions that I you know, I would wager that other folks will wonder, right? Because I have other friends and people I've known along the way who, like you, were in heterosexual relationships, and then later you know, came out, or, you know, ended those relationships, and then they were you know, whatever the designation was in that LGBTQ range. So I guess, you know, I think about like that moment when you were 14 with your mom, you both kind of simultaneously realizing and recognizing for yourself inwardly that you were gay.
Yeah.
And then having that that idea completely just stomped on by your mom. Yeah. And so then I, like you said, I moved forward going, okay, then I can't be that, because I won't be accepted. So I have to be this. And so all in, right? I'm going to go pursue this. But then I think about like just the day to day, like for that many years to essentially be suppressing, right? Like I can't, and there might not be any way for you to help us understand that, but I can't even, and I guess I should say that people do that a lot with a lot of things, not just their sexuality, right? Or their identification. But I just feel like that's got to be really hard. And
it was very hard. It was very hard because I would want to celebrate with people, but I was jealous, you know? And so not because I was angry, I was angry for a while because I felt like I couldn't be myself. And so the people that were out there being themselves and being accepted by their families, I was so jealous of that. I
Yeah.
was so, but I mean, in not just that, but in so many ways, just to have a supportive family, what was that like?
Right.
And people, oh, my mom just calls me every day. I fucking wish my
Yeah.
mom would call me and be interested in what I'm doing and what's going on with my children and what's going on in anywhere other than her little miserable world.
Right.
Like I wish I even had that, let alone being gay on top of it. Are you kidding
Right.
me? That would be a fucking miracle. And so I was angry. And
Yeah.
then I get into relationships with people that are maybe homophobic or maybe even racist. Like my first husband, when he found out that I had had relations with people other than white,
Right.
he told me I would never have dated you if I knew that you had slept with them.
Wow.
And I'm like, that just cuts me to the core because I am so very inclusive. And so on top of that, to have that hatred on top of it too, and stuff like that. Now he's a different person now, and he's very
Yeah.
accepting, which is great. He was young and dumb and wanting to screw everything that walked by him at that time. But now he's a different person, and that's great. And he and I get along just fine, and we have a son in common and stuff like that. But it was hard. It was really hard. And with my last husband, because he was pretty religious, I converted to his religion and did all those things. And the way that the church talked about gay people, I wanted to shrivel up and just evaporate in
Yeah.
there. Like I just wanted to evaporate
Yeah.
because it was so, the hatred. Oh my God. I'm like, how could you hate people? And
Right.
oh, they're going to hell and blah. And so I had to sit there and listen to this crap. And I'm like, I could never, ever, ever speak an iota of how I truly feel about this because
Right.
I'm screaming on the inside. And I even had like one of the churchgoers, and the whole thing was, there was many great people there. Let me just clarify that.
Sure. Of
You're out
course.
there listening, guys. I love you guys. But what was being spoken in the church about the gay community and stuff like that was horrific. But there was also a lot of cattiness, as in any organized group.
Sure.
There's going to be some cattiness and stuff like that. And one of the other wives was really upset that after I left my ex-husband, and when I came out, I didn't talk to them about it, but they were like one of the biggest gossipers. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. And she was mad at me for not telling her. I'm like, no, honey, you don't understand. Like, this is already a lot for me. I don't need the rumor mill going around with it too. And there, it was just one of those things. But it was so hard for me to sit through those sermons where they were gay bashing, and I'm just like, holy.
Well, essentially, yeah, exactly. And so, that's kind of where I was going when I probed a little bit, was just this idea that on fronts that we can't even imagine, right? Just in your day-to-day experience, how
Right.
much of yourself you had to push back and push down.
Yeah, no, I really did. And even being in the household with somebody that feels that way. And if one of my kids ever, and then going to a different church, a more liberal church, and then hearing some of the parents there saying, oh, if there was gay people on the staff, I would pull my kids out of there, and they don't deserve to be here. And I'm like, well, according to your religion, God loves them too.
That's right.
And it's okay. Well, if they're just going to confuse people, and mind you, that same person has now a trans daughter or son.
Oh, see?
Oh, see how that works out? And now all of a sudden the tune has changed, which I'm glad. But it took that for the tune to change. Instead, it should have just been, we love everybody. Because isn't that what religion's all about?
So often it's about like our experience is what drives our beliefs and our values. And so to your point, right, versus not accepting is not the right word, but kind of existing in a space where everybody's included, everybody's like, whatever your preference is, whether it's that you like blue cars or black cars, whether your skin is a certain color, you have a certain identity, like Who cares? That's a hard part for me, honestly, is that I sit here thinking, who the fuck cares? Like, why the fuck do you feel like you have to? And this is obviously very, it's really important now. And I know that I feel like this month is more important than ever from your perspective, as you said, Jane, because it's not that we don't practice all these things and this celebration, et cetera, all year long, but this is the opportunity to be intentional about our awareness. But when we look from state to state at the things that are happening right now legislatively in terms of putting up barriers to people who identify themselves in a trans space in some way, putting up trying to kind of resurrect the conversation about gay marriage, all those things, more important now than ever before, really, as an average American, right? No matter your own experience, to be paying attention to what people are trying to do, right? And it kind of comes for me, I'm just like, seriously, like, we're spending time and energy to make laws to block things from people, like people who aren't trying to hurt anyone, who aren't trying, like, there's no damage, there's no, like, I really am blown away right now. And that we are accepting it. And by we, I mean, if you live in a state or in a community where this legislative action is happening and you are not intentionally doing something to push back, you are a part of the problem, right? And I know that's might piss some people off, but we have to move out of this space where we feel like we can just live our lives, and that has nothing to do with us. We're just, no, I have gay friends, or I have Black friends, or I have whatever, and so that makes me okay. Right. If you're not intentionally fighting back right now, you are a part of the problem, because there are a lot. I shouldn't even say a lot. There is a small group of people who are doing a lot of damage right now because the rest of us aren't paying attention.
And because the rest of us are, we're paying attention, but we're not being vocal about it.
Or we're not doing anything. Right?
Yeah, we're not doing anything. We're just like, it's just them. It's no big deal. Yeah. And quite honestly, to be an ally of anything that is not normal, or mainstream, because that's what everybody, like so many people want to be, mainstream. Well, guess what? Not everybody's mainstream, and some people are different, and we don't like that kind of stuff, or whatever the case may be. But to be accepting of that, but also support the rights of those people that don't like the mainstream stuff or aren't part of that. And there's nothing wrong. It's not saying anything about you. It's just saying that you're a good person and that you want to support. So, and that brings it back around to Pride Month. It's not about running down the street, stopping traffic with the rainbow flag. It's not about that.
Wait a minute. My flag's on order right now, but that's okay. Got it. All right, good. I'm glad you told me. I was going to go stop traffic.
Some people think, Pride Month, great. Now I'm going to see rainbows everywhere. And that's all, people in tutus and running around and these pride parades. And why do they get a pride parade? If I said that I was straight pride, I'd probably get shot, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not about that. It's about liberating the rights of the people that are in that community. And we're fucking happy about it, right? We're happy that we get to live a normal life. Right. We're happy that we have the same rights as everyone else. Do we still? No, we don't. But you know what? Like, this isn't a choice. I didn't hop in a bandwagon to go, now I'm this. And so now you have to listen to me. I finally got to be who I am. Yeah. And that's what I'm proud about. That's right. I finally get autonomy. I understand what it means. I've implemented it into my world. And I'm living it, right? And that's what it's about. I don't wave I don't have pride stickers all over my car and all of that stuff, because you know what? It's none of anybody's business who I'm in a relationship with, or who well, it's right. Like nobody expects me to put a bumper sticker on my car that says I'm straight, right? Like, yes, nobody expects that. But if you have it, good for you. Right. Hey, hetero over here, great. Now I know to send the men over there, whatever, right. It's just like, it's nobody's business but mine and the people that I'm close to, so that they know how to support me. So Pride Month is really about learning how to support the people around you, educate yourself, and for the people that are in the community to have a time to be free to celebrate and do all the things that we want to do. We do it culturalistically. Every culture has their celebrations and stuff. And so this is a culture thing. Let it happen, embrace it, learn about it, have fun with it, and meet new, really cool fucking people, you know? And that's what it's really about. And the people that are our allies are cool people too. And you know, I do spend some time helping a company as a spokesperson, and that's a really cool experience too. And we could talk about that in a second, but I wanted to see if you had any questions or anything like that, Janice.
Well, no questions, but you know, I'll reinforce the idea, like you said, and I love how you're framing Pride Month versus just living, right? And I do, like, as I listen to you talk about, and I think about this word ally, and you know, allies to the LGBTQ community, allies to the African American community, allies, and I think to myself, God, when are we going to get to a point in our history where nobody needs an ally?
Right. We
Right.
are our allies. We are
Like,
each other's allies. I wish.
and so I won't go too far down that road, but I just think, you know, I am, you know, it's my intention and my hope that the people around me, regardless of the thing that makes them unique or the thing that makes them feel a concern about the possibility of persecution or exclusion or whatever, see me as an ally. But I also aspire to living in a world one day where nobody needs an ally, because we are all just us, right? And that's okay. But I think that, you know, I want to, before we go into this second piece, where you talk about this piece that you do, which I think is so powerful for folks, I want to just dig in a little bit more to this idea of like, how do I, as an ally, support, right? And so we started talking about it from a legislative perspective, but also I think that, you know, just being informed right now is so critical and frankly easier than it's ever been, right? And so I think about like day to day, yes, obviously I work really hard to treat everybody well and with kindness and with compassion and empathy, and whatever they bring to the table is irrelevant. I just treat people that way. But there are also ways I can be more intentional than that, right? For example, so in preparation for this conversation, one of the things I did was went to ChatGPT. If you've never touched it before, it's fun, you should go. And I basically said, okay, act as a researcher and tell me the following. And I wanted to know, what are some companies out there that are very supportive of the LGBTQ community? And then likewise, what are some companies that are not? And the disclaimer is that this is not an all-inclusive list. This is just a few, but when I looked at the companies that are, and the reason I looked at it that way, folks, is because that's a way I can be intentional beyond treating everybody well about showing my support by supporting companies and giving my money to people and entities that also represent my values and my beliefs. So some companies that do, and when I say do, I mean, they go way beyond. These are companies that go way beyond like putting up a Pride Month flag in front of their corporate offices. These are companies that are recognized because they give same-sex partner benefits. They support transgender rights and inclusivities. You know, it doesn't matter who your partner is, they get all the same, you know, medical, all the things. Some of those companies are Google and Apple and Microsoft and Salesforce, which a lot of us in the business world know. Airbnb is one, Twitter, although we'll see how that goes with the current leadership. Okay, I take it back. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. Don't accost me for that. Procter & Gamble is another one. So those are, again, go do your own research, but that's a list of a few companies that support by their own policies the LGBTQ community. And so we can support them to support. Likewise, on the flip side of it, and I don't think any of these are going to surprise you, but there have been companies in the last decade who've been kind of on the you know, other end of a firing squad because of some of their policies. Same idea, they're policies that promote exclusion, right? And yes, I know you love them, but Chick-fil-A is one of them right now. In the last few years, their CEO has tried to walk back some of his comments and some of his anti-LGBTQ things that he has said and done, and they're trying to make some efforts to mend all that. But they've been on the kind of horizon with that stuff. Hobby Lobby is another one. We've heard of that one quite a bit, right? The way that their owners challenge the Affordable Care Act requirements because they didn't want to go into a realm where they might have to support LGBTQ partners, et cetera. So those are just a couple. But again, doing your research so that you can take a step beyond just, oh yes, of course I support, and oh yes, I treat everybody, and oh yes, I'm also intentionally making sure that the companies I give my money to, and that goes true for if you do any kind of support of you know, the election process, et cetera. And we're going to be coming up on another big election a year and a half from now. And it's going to be a critical time for you to understand what the people who you're voting for believe in, so that you make sure you're supporting the people. I can support my sister Jane, not by just being inclusive and loving her, but by making sure that the big entities out there that have the power are also doing the same. So I just wanted to make sure we put that out there.
I really appreciate that, because that is so true. And one of the things that, Hobby Lobby, if anybody knows me, guys, I do crafts. I love crafts. I love decorating. I love visual merchandising. I love making things pretty. And I am a huge crafter in the aspect of making greeting cards and stuff like that. And I have spent thousands upon thousands of dollars at Hobby Lobby.
We have that in common.
They're bullshit. No, I'm just kidding. Hobby Lobby is an amazing store, you guys. I love it. I love it more than a lot of things, but I have not shopped at Hobby Lobby in probably 6 years. And about 6 years ago, it became very public that they would not pay for birth control for their female employees. And I'm sorry, that goes beyond the gay, that is women's rights to be able to say what they do with their body, and the fact that they would not support birth control is just asinine. So ever since that moment, I no longer shop at Hobby Lobby. Now, are they going out of business because I don't shop there? Probably should be, but no, they're not. And I wish they did. No, I'm just kidding. I can't support something that takes away the rights of me being a woman.
That's right.
Or punishes me, because if I worked there and I would want to be on birth control, for whatever reason, and they would say no. That just boggled my mind. So anyways, that to be said, I have not shopped there in a very long time. Michael's, so here's the deal. I always shopped at Michael's, but Michael's is a lot more inclusive. And my daughter works there, and a majority of her managers are part of the LGBTQ community, which I absolutely love.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they're all fabulous. But another company that really supports is Cost Plus World Market. Y'all, I used to work there. They are very inclusive. They are very diverse. They want all walks of life working for them. And so, support Cost Plus World Market, and it's an amazing freaking store. So, just educate yourself in that way, because that's super important. So the part that I was going to go into is I'm a spokesperson or supporter of LGBTweddings.com. Now, they are a online website that gives vendors that are LGBTQ friendly and inclusive a chance to all market their company on their website as vendors for events and weddings. And so when I sponsor them or go to a wedding expo, we're more set up for the vendors. Like, hey, become a part of LGBTweddings.com. You'll have this little tent at your thing, and people will know you're inclusive. But once the show starts is when I change my script. And this is how I support the LGBTQ community on the flip side. And so most wedding expos are full of heterosexual people.
What?
I know. And then you have this booth that's LGBTweddings.com, and they kind of look at you like you're crazy, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, hey, we can get married too. And so all of
in case you haven't heard, 2015, baby.
Yeah, all the queer couples come up to me and go, oh my God, I love this. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, here's your list and blah, blah, blah. And so we promote it as, hey, we are a website where you can get inclusive vendors. Nice. But I advertise to the straight people more than anything, because I pull them in, because they see the rainbow everywhere, and they're like, kind of try to walk around. I'm like, no,
left turn.
Yeah, no, come here. They want to go straight. I'm getting them to turn left. Just kidding.
No, wait. They want to go straight, but you're getting them to turn right.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, thank you. Boom, got it. All right. So those straight walkers, we get them turning right. I reach out to them and I go, hey, are you about being inclusive and diversity? Because especially the non-white couples, yes. Especially them, and I'm like, hey, do you want to work with really great people that are inclusive, that just want to do a really great job for all walks of life? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, then you want to be on LGBTweddings.com, because all of these vendors are inclusive. And so that's how I turn it around. And I get so many straight people to turn right at the wedding festival. I don't know if they even get married afterwards, so. turning them all over the place, guys, you know.
Wait, so you're proving the conspiracy theory that people can be turned gay? See, that's what all the laws are about, Jane.
Little sip of that Kool-Aid, you'll be in. No. But no, that's how I show the support in that way too, is because I want to educate the general population and public and let them know that it's not just about your sexual orientation. It's about having cultural differences for weddings. It's not all the American dream where it's like the, you know, the freaking all white wedding with the flowers in the church and all that stuff. There's people that have, you know, like Bollywood weddings and just
right.
cool shit that I'm like, man, I would, if I ever get married again, and I really, you guys, I don't know, but I would want a big celebration like that. Like, let's make it cool, you know? So, yeah, that's Pride Month. It's not about running around with flags and tutus and stuff like that. It's about supporting the community, educating, and bringing awareness around how others can support us as we support everybody else, because we are so inclusive, you know, and we just want to love and be loved by everyone. So.
Well, and my only little kind of addition there that I'm going to make is it's not only about, right? Because it's not either or. It's not running around with rainbows and, you know, tutus or doing what you just described. It's however you
want to do it.
You need to show up and want to show up, right? To raise awareness. And our intention with this episode was really to provide a lot of different entry points for you to show up, right? For this community. And what I love about that website, and I think that when we eventually have a website of our own, which we will one day when one of our listeners says, hey, I'd love to build a website for you and do it for free and maintain it all because you're so awesome. So,
oh my God, that would be like,
that happens, right? As soon as that happens. But that should be included as somebody that, as a website that we promote, right? Because like you said, if you had just said to me, LGBTQweddings.com, I would have thought, oh, if I'm in that community, that's where I can go. But no, it's here's a list of all the inclusive vendors. And I love that. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about being intentional and taking action to show your support, not just frankly, resting on the laurels of I'm a good person and I include everybody, but actually taking action to show your support. And that's what we wanted to do today, was give you some entry points to really think about that. And hopefully find an entry point that makes sense to you, right? That you feel like, okay, this is something I can do.
And you know, one last thing I forgot to mention about LGBTweddings.com is that the founder is a straight woman. You know, she's married to a man, but she has so many friends and family members in the community and really felt like it was needed. And she does, and we do training for those wedding vendors to teach them how to be more inclusive.
Love it.
Diversified. We even talk about plus size models and disabled models or you know, different ability models in their trifolds and how they talk to people and how to be inclusive. So it's not just, hey, get on this website. They actually get some training on how to be, you know, and how to say things appropriately to make people feel included, you know. So it's really, really cool. It's really cool. Yeah.
So that's our goal, folks. And we hope that this episode has really given you some things to think about. There's so much out there right now with Pride Month, and we love all of it. And so we wanted to just kind of bring a part of that conversation to our audience and make sure that we lift that up and we celebrate the people in our lives that we know and love who are a part of that community, and to, again, make sure that we all feel like we can take some action to be a support. So as always, we love that you're here. We need you to subscribe, like, share, do all the things. And by the way, Jane, this is like one of 2, 3 of our, this is like countdown to our final episode for our first season ever, because we'll drop all of our episodes for first season by the end of June. So we have this episode, we have a Father's Day episode, we have a wrap-up episode of first season. And then, you know, we're going to take a month break. We're going to give everybody a chance to catch up on the episodes they've missed while we go do our beautiful genius stuff behind the scene to map out season 2, which will launch in the fall. Pretty exciting, you guys.
We have some people chomping at the bit to join our show and you know, share their story. And you know, we have some pretty incredible people lined up for this next season. So I'm excited, and we really want to hear more from you guys. You know, so please, again, you know, just echoing Janice, listen, like, share, download. You know, we're close to being able to be monetarily supported a little bit with this, which would be super cool. And we get new tricks and toys and stuff like that. And then we can start doing our own, like, you know, swag.
That's right.
Diving swag.
That's right.
Who doesn't want
I
some of
can't
our
think.
trash?
Right. Who doesn't want a picture of trash on their t-shirt? All right, you guys. As always, thanks for being a part of our community. We love
Yes.
you, and we will see you next time. Peace
Yes.
out.
All right. Bye.